Instead of cutting as planned, the cameras remained in place. Shortly after Chrissy made her secret wedding public on television, the crowd let out a gasp. Social media blew up. Jim Jones simply sat motionless. Nobody was aware of his thoughts. Nobody could determine if he was disoriented, injured, or on the verge of blowing out. What transpired backstage after the credits rolled, however, was not intended for public viewing because Jim Jones formed a big-in while producers rushed to calm things down directly to Chrissy's changing area, and a concealed camera that was still rolling behind the curtain captured what transpired next, uncut and uncensored tears, accusations, shouting, and the truth. They had no intention of coming out. This went beyond reality television. This partnership lasted for decades, in the creating and breaking in real time, with the internet observing everything in its unadulterated, untidy state. Regular reunion, special shouting, yelling, a few walk-offs, and a sprinkle were all part of the plan of social media feuds. However, what happened in the last 5 minutes of the Harlem edition of Real Love, Real Lives was unexpected. Chrissy didn't simply arrive with attitude and glam. She arrived bearing a mystery. Additionally, you could feel the atmosphere change when she revealed to the set that she was married. Drained from the studio, I took the necessary action in private. I didn't wait for the first time in my life. I didn't inquire. I choose myself. I have a spouse. Not just the audience gasped. The host isn't the source. Aside from the cast throughout the entire show, individuals were still recuperating from little conflict. Jim Jones's stillness produced the most significant gasp. He didn't blink or flinch. Remained motionless. Diamond chains continued to catch the stage while wearing sunglasses lights. But that quiet was more powerful than any expletive he could have used. As the reunion hosts frantically tried to regain control and roll the credits, Jim remains motionless as the program comes to a close. The wrap-up cue was given by the producers. The viewers, bravo. The lights went down. In order to prepare for their exit interviews, the group started to shuffle toward the back corridor. Jim Jones, however, is still seated. Later, one of the boom mic operators described how it seemed like a bus made of all the things he could have avoided struck him. He reacted with shock rather than even rage. That profound silence in which your heart is at a loss for what to do. Like he was holding himself together. He sat there with both hands on the velvet reunion chair's armrests. His microphone was still hot, and all he could make out above the crew's commotion was, "Wow, for real?" Then he got up slowly, deliberately, and made his way from the nut to go to the green room, not even to the changing rooms. Backstage, he went straight to Chrissy's personal trailer, which she had secured since they came. What was hidden by the main cameras? The primary camera feed turned to black at that point, and everything literally went off script. Reggie, a freelance backstage cameraman who had been engaged to record behind-scenes footage for social media promotions, was still using his camera, and he did, thank God, since what he captured was pure conflation. Reggie continued to roll, unaware of what he was getting into, while Jim rushed past security and used one hand to force open Chrissy's dressing room door. "Hand, you just threw that on me like that on live TV." With no warning and no knocking, Chrissy whirled around. The heel is still off. Mid-touch freeze of the makeup artist. Her jaw tightened and she dropped her small mirror on the ground. "Jim, you knew we were done. You were aware of that." "Yes, but I'm married. Married a man who didn't even send me a text. You didn't believe I was worthy of at least that." "Oh, you want to talk now? After you skipped couples therapy and failed to attend my mother's funeral. You abandoned me for 6 months. Boom. It became real at that point. Every single person in that hallway stopped breathing and you could hear it." The clipboard-wielding production assistant froze. Reggie backed up just enough to keep the audio clear, even while one of the background stylists attempted to shut the door concealed. The camera is rolling in its entirety. No one was aware that Chrissy's dressing room microphone had been left running. The audio was very clear, but it was an accident and not protocol. 2 hours after it was leaked, the video was widely shared on Twitter. With the description, "TWW with Z shared a video. This man received 20 from Chrissy years and he kept quiet about her. He forced her to make her own decision." Now the video became viral. Supporters were split. The majority supported Chrissy. Because despite all of that stress, her voice cracked with pain. Others supported Jim because they felt hurt, misled, and caught off guard. "You were aware that you were aware of my fatigue. For years, I waited on you. You promised me a life, a family, and a wedding. But all I ever received was promise. You have my loyalty. Jim retaliated. You put me in limbo. No Twitter fails in a matter of minutes. Nationwide, Chrissy and Jim Jones were at the top and second of the charts. The video was shared by the Shade Room. Hollywood Unlocked went live to talk about the altercation. Mama Jones even joined the commotion, sharing a photo of herself and Chrissy from 2012 with the words, "And just like that, poof, gone." The remarks were harsh. Jim was 20 years old and ringless for Buddy. Time was love. In response to someone who did, Chrissy answered, "I do." That dude couldn't give Chrissy a date, but he gave us dips at classics. In the meantime, fans started removing previous interviews, receipts, love, and hip-hop programs, and the 2011 proposal in which Chrissy got down on her own knee. Every second she spent on the internet was replayed. The waiting went on and on. And she stopped waiting. Now Jim withdraws to his caravan. A production worker said that Jim walked out of Chrissy's room without saying anything else. He didn't try to fight anyone, scream, or slam anything. He simply made his way silently to his trailer, took a seat, and shut the door. He didn't even talk. According to a makeup artist who offered him a towel, he simply gazed at the ground. After a while, he gently placed his chains on the vanity counter after removing each one individually. It was the first time, since filming began, that anyone has seen Jim without them. 10:48 p.m. He eventually ended the silence by sending an SMS. Freaky Zicky, his first-day friend. She did it. She was bluffing. I thought Chrissy's phone was always on, buzzing. In the meantime, cast members, bloggers, and people she hadn't spoken to in years bombarded Chrissy's phone with texts and direct messages. However, one message struck in a unique way. It was her new husband's doing a "proud of you" greeting from a man whose identity the world still doesn't know. Let them speak. When Chrissy entered that reunion recording, she had no intention of making headlines. Her heart armored, her wedding ring concealed under a new manicure. She was prepared since she had 20 years of history. She didn't want to make Jim look bad. She had no desire for vengeance. However, peace was the only thing she desired. She had to do something she had been scared to do for more than 10 years in order to obtain it. Give up the Jim Jones concept. The ring underwent a transformation. There were no rose petals, no grandiose proposal, no helicopters. A handwritten message, a beach, and no rap lyrics sewn into a diamond. And a man who wanted to create with Chrissy rather than fix her. The name of that man, Bellamy Marcus. Yes, the well-known architect who specializes in creating residences for the aristocrats of hip-hop. In late 2022, they met at a gala for interior design. Chrissy was there in order to help a buddy. No one is exed because of the production leak. It appears that Real Lives producers were aware of Chrissy's marriage before two Jims. Yes, According to sources, Chrissy requested a time to revise her contract weeks prior to filming, to discuss her relationship status openly, and without interruption. At the conclusion of the reunion, she didn't want Jim's response captured on tape. She merely wished to recover her tail, but the producers saw an opportunity to create a viral sensation. They moved her announcement to the last 5 minutes of the run-up performance without telling Jim or alerting the cast. The host wasn't even briefed. They desired for the occasion to feel genuine. What were they given was unadulterated anguish captured in 4,000 dots. Indeed, Chrissy was incensed upon realizing how they had set Jim up. She had warned them not to take advantage of his response. However, after the video was captured, it belonged to the network. She also realized there was no going back once the video leaked. The inner circle of Jim talks, Jim's best boy who requested to stay. In fact, Jim Jones been preparing to pop the question to Chrissy once more during the reunion. According to an anonymous interview with an urban podcast, Jim had allegedly already chosen a ring. He had concealed the ring in his suitcase with the intention of taking it out after speaking with Mama Jones, who this time was pleasantly encouraging. At their last meeting, the strategy, one final attempt, one final shot. Here's the twist though. He was never given the opportunity because Chrissy dropped her own bomb before he could say anything. I'm already wed. Supporters were split. Chrissy, some say should have alerted him. Others claimed that she has warned him for the past 20 years. The day after the reunion, she fell for the piece she never imagined. After switching off her phone, Chrissy boarded an upstate train, just she and Marcus with no glitz or entourage. They ate home-cooked meals while lodging in a tiny cabin on the lake. Food. I performed jazz without glancing over their shoulder. They laughed. According to a person close to Chrissy, she shed tears twice. Once out of guilt, once out of relief. Because Sezzy still had to deal with the fact that she had broken a guy who had once loved her very much, even in spite of the applause from the public and admirers. He was unsure of how to demonstrate it. However, she was also aware of this. I was going to wither if I didn't leave. In the meanwhile, Jim's word on the street is that you're planning something. Jim isn't finished yet. According to sources, he has been working on a new solo song that fans think sounds like a disc album by Chrissy. I should have recognized the title. Additionally, the Violent Elite excerpt of the song includes lines like, "She took my loyalty and flipped it to silence, gave her time. She gave me violence. One thing is certain. Whether it's bars, heartache, or both, Chrissy isn't looking back." And Jim is in pain. Jim Jones vanished from the public eye in the days after Chrissy's wedding announcement. No interviews, no, not even a subtweet, but Instagram thrives. Jim blowing up was nothing new to fans. He was the voice of unrepentant emotion and the hooded of Harlem. However, he fell silent this time, and it frightened many because Jim's quiet was peaceful. Pressure was mounting. I should have been aware of the internet breaking song. Then when individuals Jim released a surprise freestyle titled, "I should have knew the beat" on SoundCloud, raising suspicions that he was permanently lying quiet. The lyrics contain haunting 20 years of straight daggers. I gave you my time, my space and my time. You entered his life by plane. I couldn't draw the line in time. I wore shame and you wore white. You left, I was held accountable. The internet went down. The developer of TikTok began creating spectacular reactions over the song. One fan stitched a video of Chrissy's wedding reveal and wrote a caption, "He lost more than simply a girlfriend. His legacy was lost." However, it was the outro that had everyone clutching their pearls. "You are still my forever, even if you just visit me in dreams" was the last thing I spoke to her. Oh no, message from Backstage. No one was expected to recall the covert camera that Reggie had behind the scenes. It turns out that before Jim left the building that evening, it captured one more moment as he stood at the exit door with their glasses back on, their chains removed, and their hoodie pulled down. Kendra, Chrissy's best friend, was waiting with her suitcase when he briefly stopped to speak to her. "Tell her that you didn't want it to end this. Inform her that I was constantly afraid she would outgrow me." She also did. Then he ventured out into the darkness. Kendra purposefully shared the video, even though it was never shown, because she wanted people to know it wasn't all ego. She was loved by that man. First, he simply didn't know how to love himself. We never heard the vows. What was unknown to supporters, Chrissy's wedding had taken place 2 months prior to the recording of the reunion. There were only 30 attendees, no press, and no film. Chrissy's vows, an outdoor courtyard in Spain, and a sunset that appeared to have been hand-painted by God. They were poetic and intimate. However, one particular segment struck a different chord and was inadvertently uploaded to a close friend's Instagram story. This was it. "I'm grateful to the man who saw me before anyone else did, since you taught me what love isn't. You taught me how to ask for better things, and now I get it. Some individuals were upset with you." Chrissy was deemed insulting. There should be no darkness in that pledge that she others claimed it was poetry disguised as closure, but she still had Jim in her heart. A painfully written chapter that ends with power. Mama Jones speaks up. Additionally, right when the internet thought when things became too messy, Mama Jones intervened. The famous incident starts when she uploads a video to her kitchen counter having a white glass in hand, champagne, declaring, "I'll say it again. I adore Chrissy. I always have, and always will. But you don't do such things on TV, and expect people to feel the same way. Away. I'm happy that she found happiness. But don't act like my son didn't work hard for her. You waited. Yes. Guess what, sweetie? He also survived you." The comments left fans divided. "Tell her mother," she said. Others, "You brought him up. Don't blame the woman, blame the male." One of the top comments said, "Jim sobbed in rhythms while Chrissy waited in silence. Both of them lost, but only one recovered." What then for Jim? According to sources, Jim returned to the studio, but not for music when Chrissy and Marcus were on their honeymoon in Italy. Yes, it was for therapy. Rumor has it that Jim has secretly joined a private men's, according to people close to him. He was at an emotional wellness retreat in upstate New York with no phones, no press, and no distractions. He's trying to fix the man before he returns to the spotlight. So, he's not trying to make a comeback. It's real, and to be honest, It's growth because the Jim from 10 years ago would have dropped a CD tape, went to a strip bar, and dated a stranger simply to be popular at this gym. Chrissy is happy. Pictures of at a restaurant by the sea. Chrissy and Marcus are eating together. There are no fans or paparazzi there. Only her head resting on his shoulder with a gentle smile. Couldn't help but feel glad for her because she finally chose herself, not for attention, not for clapbacks, not for the culture, but for peace after years of pleading, praying, and hurting. She then told a friend, "I left him to save me, not to hurt him." Chrissy gave Jim every opportunity to appear, but he remained silent in response to several fan messages that went viral. Said goodbye. Unchanging love turns into emotional debt. She cashed out. All right. Jim Jones realized that loyalty and work are not the same thing. That man had a queen who wasn't waiting for a wedding and was treated like a backup dancer. Let's picture the concluding scene of this story as a split screen with Jim Jones sitting in a dimlet on the left. She was longing to feel wanted looking at an old picture of Chrissy in the studio with his headphones off and tears in his eyes. On the right, Chrissy is shown strolling down a cobblestone street. She doesn't need to look back, so she walks hand in hand with Marcus while her new ring gleams in the afternoon sun, said all she had to say. That's it, family. The tale of lost love, wasted time, and finding healing was captured on film when the world wasn't meant to witness it. This wasn't only a reality TV drama. Rather, it was a decade of love, silence, and lost opportunities that were being revealed to the world. Not only did Jim Jones lose Chrissy, but he also lost the version of her that waited. Chrissy married for peace, not retribution. It's your time to speak now. Do you believe Jim sealed his own doom by disclosing her marriage on public television? Or did Chrissy make a mistake by keeping her in suspense for too long? Tell us in the comments below if you're more on the hashtag team Jim Jones or hashtag team Chrissy side. The outcome of Chrissy's new spouse confronting Jim face to face is worth knowing to confront. Next up is that strike that turn on the post. Click the like button and subscribe notifications as a result of this narrative. It not finished yet. Our cameras are located where they're not welcome. They're not welcome.